Daybreak or Terraine, what neighborhood is better for you? That's what I'm talking about today. I'm going to break down some of the big differences between those two neighborhoods because really they're very similar. Daybreak has been around a lot longer, but Terraine is like if Daybreak and Park City had a baby, Terraine would be what it is. And so I want to talk a little bit more and compare each neighborhood so you can decide which master planned community is best for you. So let's jump into it. Okay, so let's first talk about location. Both Daybreak and Terraine are located on the west part of Salt Lake County. One is just a little bit further northwest than the other. So what that means, Terraine, you are closer to downtown Salt Lake City, you are closer to Salt Lake International Airport, whereas Daybreak, you are further south than Terraine. So if you are commuting to the Silicon Slopes, so Lehigh, things like that, then Daybreak is going to be a more convenient commute for you than Terraine is. But both are very similar in the sense that the developers of Terraine are the developers of Daybreak originally. So Daybreak is now being developed and was purchased by Larry Miller Group. So, and that is not the case for Terraine. But people often say if Daybreak and Park City had a baby, Terraine would be it. So when you go to both communities, you're gonna have kind of the same feeling. Narrower streets, trails, open areas, smaller lots, generally speaking. So smaller areas for houses to be built on with not a lot of yard space, kind of close together in both communities. Now, both subdivisions are in the Jordan School District. So if you are looking for specific school districts, they are the same. So most of Daybreak, the high school is Harriman High School, whereas with Terraine, it is Copper Hills High School. But again, both are still Jordan School District. Let's talk about size. Okay, like I said, Daybreak has been around longer. It is still being built. You can still find tons of new construction, and they're going to be building for many, many years to come, I'm sure. And Terraine is in the same situation. So Daybreak, that is 4,100 acres, and it will have up to 20,000 homes when it's done being built out. Whereas Terraine is 634 acres, so not even a quarter of the size, and it will have just over 2,800 homes in the subdivision. So major size difference between the two. When you go to Daybreak, you're gonna have more of that beachy Cape Cod feel. The bright colors, the blues, the yellows, just the really vibrant colors. I mean, of course you do see like barn red colors and things like that, but just the overall feel is beachy. I mean, you look at the street names in Daybreak and you have Splashway and Beachcomber and Lake Island and Lake Avenue. So definitely more geared towards that beach feel since there is Daybreak Lake, there's the water course. Whereas you go over to Terraine and that's going to be more of a natural mountain feel. And the street names there are things like Hidden Hills Way and Overland. Now, because Terraine is just size difference, so much smaller than Daybreak, you know, you still do have the trails and you can walk and bike, but not nearly to the level or the distances that you're gonna find in Daybreak. However, you do have easier access, or you are supposed to have easier access to the hills off to the west, which is going to be behind the West Jordan Temple. So you're going to be able to have more access to trails outside of the subdivision than you do in Daybreak. But let's talk about it because Terraine is a little more set west, as you can see in some of the video that I show. There's not a lot going on around it. So definitely Daybreak is in a more developed area. So what I mean by that, You have a grocery store in Daybreak, the Harmons. You have the Smith's Marketplace right between the east part and west part of Daybreak. Grocery shopping. You have the track system. You have the new ballpark right there in Daybreak. You're going to have a future downtown Daybreak. You have the University of Utah Health Centers. So much in and around Daybreak for development. Whereas when you go to Terraine, the nearest grocery store is going to be about a 10-minute drive. If you want to go to the mall or shopping areas, that's going to be 15-20-minute drive. Whereas in Daybreak, it's down the road depending on which part of Daybreak you're in. Okay, let's get down to money and houses. Okay, so let's talk about Daybreak. As of the time of recording this video, the lowest price active listing is $339,000. That is for a 2-bedroom condo that's about 1,100 square feet. And the highest active listing right now in Daybreak is a single family home, just over $2.5 million and over 7,300 square feet. Now jumping over to Terraine, the lowest price active listing right now is a 1-bedroom townhouse just over 1,500 square feet for $390,000. And that goes up to the highest single family home currently active or under contract in Terraine is just over $1.3 million and over 5,200 square feet. Now, one of those homes that is listed for just over 1.3 million in Terraine is going to have a 2-bedroom ADU on it as well. So big fluctuations, obviously in the highest price in Daybreak compared to the highest price right now in Terraine. But I will mention, even though there's condos in Daybreak, there are not supposed to be condos in Terraine. They are only going to be single family homes and townhouses. Now let's talk about money with each community, and this may be your deciding factor. So in both communities, Daybreak and Terraine have a transfer fee when you sell a home or purchase a home. And that is 0.5% of the sales price for both communities. So if you purchase a $500,000 home in either community, there is going to be a $2,500 transfer fee to the HOA. Now, I'm not going to get into who pays that because that's always negotiable, depends on if it's new construction, all of that. So that is equal in both communities. Where it's not equal and can cost you a lot of money is Daybreak does not have what's called a PID fee, whereas Terraine does. And Terraine charges that for all homeowners. Now, you can break that fee up monthly, but in addition to your HOA fees, that's going to be another $60 to $80 a month. And if you haven't watched my video, I'm going to link it here about what you need to know about moving into Terraine. And I talk more about the HOA fees, but especially that PID fee and how much it costs. So check out that video if you're seriously considering Terraine. Now, both communities, they do have HOA fees. They vary depending on if you're in a condo or a townhouse or a single family home. I will say in Daybreak, I have seen HOA fees as high as $600 a month for condos. Now keep in mind, that covers water, usually that covers all kinds of things, but quite hefty HOA fees. Whereas Terraine, your HOA fees are not that high. At the time of this recording, you're talking about, $150 to $300 a month, depending on if you incorporate that PID fee and everything. Now, both communities do include internet in that HOA fee, but Terraine also does go a step further, and your HOA fees can vary depending on the speed of the internet that you have, and they're very transparent about that. Whereas Daybreak, I'm sure you can upgrade to faster speeds and pay a little bit more, but it's not out there really easily accessible. So that PID fee though is really a big one because it's thousands of dollars and you have to pay it every single year or every time you buy or sell in Terraine. So it's not like, hey, I'm an original owner and I have to pay the PID fee, but the next people after that don't. That's not the case. If you sell your house, then there's another PID fee. And then when they sell the house, there's another PID fee, and on it goes until you've paid thousands of dollars. And you do have the option, and like I said, it covers it more in my other video, to pay it all in a lump sum or to break it out monthly. So if you're looking at making a real estate move, I'd love to connect with you. Shoot me a text or give me a call, but as always, make it a great day.